That was an expensive piece.
Yeah, well,
Wow.
well,
Really? Okay, StreamYard. Oh, it's interesting. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a conversation with, and I'm your humble host, Floyd Marshall Jr. And today we are joined by none other than director, producer, writer, cinematographer, editor, casting director, and so much more. Good brother that I've known a long time and have mad respect for because he's a true student of this game. I'd like to welcome Derrick Hammond to a conversation podcast, and we are going to get into it because, ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking to learn how to do business the right way, how to get your films distributed, how to get your films made, then this is the place for you today. So I hope that you have pen and paper because we have a lot to talk about. So, Mr. Hammond, welcome to a conversation with. Can you hear
what's,
me?
yeah, what's going on, everybody? Salute to Floyd.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for having me on here, bro. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's been a while, man. We have been circling around this for a couple of years. And every time I said, well, I got to get Derrick on the podcast, I got to get Derrick on the podcast. And I'm very big on telling people write things down, and I
Hmm.
didn't write it down, so it always slipped my mind. And then I would see you posting something about a movie premiere that you're having, or something that you're doing. I'm like, damn, I got to bring Derrick on. So a couple of weeks ago, when you posted about your premiere for Gina, I said, I'm hitting him up right now because if I don't, I'm gonna forget. And then so then that's when I reached out. But yeah, I'm so glad to have you on. So one of the things that I always like to ask all of my guests is, how did you get started in the film business?
Wow. Well, with me, I didn't go to film school, but I really got knowledge when I was paid to work on film set through my cousin Will Smith when I started working on his productions. So that really like got me intrigued of how everything is done. And even though when I worked there, even though I was like a PA for Will Smith, I still have free range to go to every department to see how they do stuff from lighting, grip, sound, even in the director's view monitor next to Barry Sonnenfeld, who did Men in Black 3, next to Peter Landis, who did Concussion. So they basically almost gave my own monitor so I could look at it while he looking at his. So
Mm,
it was a treat for me. I got paid to learn. And
wow.
and from there, I just pick up everything that I learned and I try to bring it into a micro budget with the same mentality, the same work ethic as they do on the big budget.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
So you're working on Will Smith's projects. When did you decide that, okay, I like this, so I'm going to start making my own stuff? When did that happen?
Once I grasped the concept of how to do a movie,
Okay.
I was always intrigued about how they do
Okay.
it, but I never seen it before.
Okay.
So once I seen it, I'm like, that's it. This is what I want to do. I was always in entertainment, before all this, and back in the early, like late '80s, early '90s, I was into hip hop a lot. You know what I mean? Rapping, DJing, producing music, and then always the entertainment was in my blood. Even when I got into hip hop because of Will when he was with the group called Fantabulous Four when his name was MC Willie Will before the Fresh Prince.
Hmm.
Yeah, so entertainment was always around.
Okay. So
Hmm.
you have now, if anybody's ever checked out your IMDb, you have an extensive amount of films under your belt as an editor, a cinematographer, a director, and a producer. So with you learning everything on set, was it a natural transition to each of those disciplines?
Yeah, it was natural, but also was repetitious of learning how to do certain things, paying attention on set, on other people's sets, especially bigger sets, how to go about doing things, and how can I translate that into a micro set because of course I don't got all the lights they got, so I gotta I gotta improvise of what I have. So that's what I did. And with editing, I started with my uncle Will's dad. He had Final Cut. He introduced me to editing. I didn't know what the heck it was. And I
Mhm.
started playing with it. I'm like, oh, okay, I like this. So I went and bought Final Cut so I could have it for myself. This is Final Cut 7. This is like 11, 12 years ago. I don't know what that is. That's you?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
Okima coming in.
oh, okay. And
Don't
then
blame that on me. That wasn't me. I don't know who was scratching and searching. That wasn't me.
yeah, so that's how I got into it. Just repetitiously going to YouTube University, paying attention on my cousin's set, and just learning and grasping, taking everything. I was soaking up everything like a sponge.
Okay, okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are now joined by my amazing co-host Okima T. Moore. Welcome to the show, Okima.
What up,
Hello,
Key?
hello.
What
Sorry
up,
for being
Gina?
tardy to the party, big brothers, but MTA is trash. Hey guys.
It is what it is. It is what it is. So you get Final Cut 7
hmm
and you start to teach yourself how to use it. How difficult was that? Because I had tried editing myself for like a hot millisecond, and once I looked at all of this, I said, "No, this ain't for me." So how long did it take you to actually become proficient rather as an editor?
Well, Final Cut 7, it took a minute because like I never looked at a editing system before at all.
Mhm.
So I literally had to like read the manual of what certain things do. So it took like 3 4 months just to understand how to ingest the system. Because back then when I was videotape, it was through tapes, DVD tapes. You remember those?
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh
And
yeah,
from
yeah,
and
yeah.
from that, I had to plug it into the camera and plug that into my computer so Final Cut could read it. And I had to download it digitally on my hard drive. You know what I mean? So it's almost like using film, and I would take it to Deluxe in New York, get it from film to digital. That's what it's almost like.
Damn.
Yeah, so it took some time, but then after a while, digital cameras happened. I went and when Canon 5D Mark II that came out, that was a beast. I went and bought it, and from there, I didn't have to worry about plugging in from film and transcribing it to digital. It was already digital at the time.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
so I stayed
Wow.
with Final Cut all the way up until they went to Final Cut 10. I didn't do that. I didn't like that because that was an iMovie to me. So from there, I went to Adobe and I started learning Adobe. It's really no difference now. Besides some keys is different. Like something might say save on one key, but it might mean something else on another editing software. It might mean something else. So just a matter of learning the keys. But it really, once you learn one editing system, it's basically almost the same through all the rest of them. Just transitions and stuff like that might be different.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Kima, did you want to jump in here? Because you know me, I got 50 million questions.
I know you do. First of all, hey bro, I haven't seen you in forever.
I know, right? It's been a minute. How you
Yes.
doing?
I am blessed and highly favored, even if I'm
Congrat
stressed and underpaid.
Congratulations on your book gig, I see.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
hmm
Um, yeah, so we know, you have a slew of films in various spaces, to be and what so have you. Talk to me a little bit about the landscape of film for you as an indie director and producer today. Because when we first met, we first met Floyd, if you don't know, because I'm very good friends with Leland B. Martin
hmm
and my amazing sister, and they got me in a web series that Derrick was directing and producing,
Mm,
Called
and
London, yep.
called London, and that's how we initially met. And then
hmm
I had done a short that I was looking to get Derrick to co-direct with me at the time. Unfortunately, he wasn't able. I had a different team. That was a whole other thing.
That was in
But
Florida, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so moving forward, I've watched Derrick from that time to now really and truly set a niche for himself with urban drama.
mhm.
And, but the world is so different from then to now, D. And talk to me a little bit about how you navigate, you know, what you gonna, what projects you want to take on, getting your distribution. Like, how do you really navigate this new atmosphere? Because it's so different from when we first met, what, 10 years ago or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was a minute. Yeah, right now, see, it's like it moves faster now because every like 10 years ago there was no real Tubi, there was no Peacock, it was no Folsom or nothing like that. You know what I mean? It just had Netflix. You might have had Amazon if I'm not mistaken, but it was a bunch of distribution distributors that really ripped us off as filmmakers. We never knew where they was going with the movie. They wouldn't tell us nothing. But now, being that you got the power within your own self to either self distribute or go to different distribution companies, I think it's more easier now to get your stuff out there, especially with Tubi. People talk bad about Tubi because, granted, they do got some trash on there. You know what I mean? But the thing about it is they done it and they put it out there. And hopefully they grow from it and learn from what they put out there so the next project can be better. You
Yeah.
understand? But they're getting paid for it now. And that's something that us filmmakers on this micro budget level always wanted, was something to get rewarded from the work that we put out.
Mhm.
You know? And like now it's like fast return. You got to shoot, people shooting in like, 5 to 6 days, and it's already on Tubi 4 months later. I don't suggest that because that's not me. You know what I mean? I don't suggest that because I like to take my time with
Mhm.
what I'm doing as far as like shooting, even pre-production. Take my time, shooting, editing, even with distribution. And I know like a lot of distributors out there. They talk about their distributors, but they really producers rep. They just disguise it under the name distribution,
Mhm.
and they really is ripping off a lot of filmmakers with that title distribution. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And so with that, one, thank you for talking about taking your time. I think I tell my clients this all the time as a producer, as a producer, as a director, as a executive producer, the world doesn't know it's waiting for it. So
Yeah.
the only timetable that exists is the one you give it.
And I said all the time,
If you rush it and then it's not good, that's left on that mark is
yeah,
left on your is left on your resume.
yeah. I tell everybody it's gonna be the first time anybody sees it when you put it out.
Mm.
So it don't matter when you put it out. As long
Right.
as,
It's
long as you
only
make,
old to you.
yeah, that's it. That's all. But it's gonna be the first time for everybody to see it. And I try to express that to them because they so worried about getting out there. We got to get it done, just that and the third. It's gonna be the first time anybody see it when you put it out there. So make sure everything is done right. And like if you notice, for all of you see my movie, I try to pay attention to really sound. I can look at a bad movie and have good sound. I can't look at a dope visual and have terrible sound. And I
Listen,
see it.
I just went through that. I
Mm,
literally just went through that. And I tell people all the time, sound is so important. If you're gonna
it's
spend money on anything, have good equipment and have good sound.
not only that, get the right people to mix your stuff.
And understand that there is a different, like, if your homeboy produces records, that's great. That does not make him a film sound designer. It is different.
He's not a composer. He's a beat
He's not a
producer.
well, right, right. But I mean, just because he knows how to use Audition doesn't mean
He know
that
how to
he is
mix
who
it.
should be doing the mix for your film.
Yeah, that's why I use my peoples over in India. That's who do my sound. They do my sound. I do the Foley's, but they
Hmm.
mix it, they compose it, they do my sound design, and they do my final mix. And they do music. Not only but not produce music, but they also compose music.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's one thing that I'm a stickler about sound because that's the most sensitive, one of the most sensitive senses that you have is sound. Like ears is really sensitive, and if the sound is not triggering right, or if you don't understand what they're saying, or dialogue is muffled or not mixed down, it's going to turn you off from wanting to pay attention to what you're seeing.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know?
What
Yep.
it does is it takes you out of the film.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're sitting there and you're watching something and you're immersed in it, and then you hear something off camera, you're like, and I don't know how many times I'm sitting on the couch watching something. Let's talk about it. We're on Tubi, and I'm watching a movie, and the sound isn't great, or you hear something that's not supposed to be there. I'm looking at my wife like, did you hear that? If somebody says to you when you're watching a film, did you hear that? And it's not part of the film, you got a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the thing is, and Derek, we've talked about this before
Yeah.
about sound. Sound
Mm-hmm.
is king. Sound is king because, like you said, you can watch okay cinematography, and if the sound is phenomenal, you can look past that.
And the
but you
story is good.
and the
Mhm.
story is good. But if you're sitting there watching a phenomenal film with bad sound, it just ruins it because now you're sitting there trying to decipher and trying to filter out what should and shouldn't be there. So,
Mhm.
ladies and gentlemen, if you don't listen to anything else in this podcast, I want you to rewind it to this portion of the podcast and listen to what he said again and invest in your sound because I'm going to say this and we're going to get back to it. And me and Derrick have talked about this as well. This is a business. Your film is a product. And if you're putting out, excuse my French, if you're putting out a shitty product, expecting to get a return, stop expecting to get a return because you're not. Because you may get people once, but you won't get them again. So again, sound is king.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this, Derrick.
Okay.
You play a pretty active role in casting because when I've watched your films, I've seen some of the same actors, some that that I know, Neil
Mhm.
Carr, Charles
Mhm.
Harris,
Mhm.
a couple other people. So how do you guys go about the casting process when you're casting your films?
With me, usually I know who I'm casting before I even have a casting call
Mm,
as the lead part. You know what I mean? But I have a casting because you always find that gem. Like when I did her little secret casting, Tasia was an audition. She didn't, I didn't know her.
mm,
And it's so funny. She was on her way to Atlantic City. She stopped by an audition. And I wasn't even in the room at the time. I had to go get a hard drive so I could dump the audition tapes on. And my partner at the time, my cousin T Black, and them seen her said, "Yo, you gotta see this girl Tasia Brinson." I was like, "Okay." So I played the tape back. I'm like, "Wow, I like her. I like her look. I like her demeanor, and she fit the complexion and the style and the look of Lorez and her little secret." So that's when I hit her up, like, "Yo, let's get going. Let's do it." And she was with it. It was her first leading role that she had.
wow.
Yeah, so I like to try to find gems into my casting calls because you never know because there's always somebody out there like, oh, I like this person or I like that, I like that, I like that dude, or I like the way he works. I could really, help him out because I see he's hungry for it. You know what I'm saying? So I try to give everybody a chance. But on my set, I don't play around. You know what I mean? People like you don't smile now. Like, say, what is there to smile about? Let's do the work. We can smile after we're done for the day. You know what I mean? And and I tell everybody, you know, I'm the easiest person to get along, one of the nicest people. I just don't like bullshit. You know what I mean? So we're here to do something. And it's going to be long hours sometime because that's the nature of the beast of micro budget films that we use. It's just long hours because we don't got the manpower of a mega budget. 100 people on set. We got like 5 people, and we're 9 times out of 10 we're wearing multiple hats. You know, so therefore the casting, I just love having it because I like to find that next gem or that next person. But also even with the people, I like to work with some of the same people like Leland, my young boy, who was in her little secret, Leland Kima, who was in London.
I just
you
talked to
know
him. Yeah.
oh,
I,
okay,
just,
yeah,
I literally just spoke to Leland.
yeah, so it's like, I haven't talked to him since probably much, but he's doing this thing now.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And I commend him for that. And like, I had him before he even started.
Mm.
Yeah.
No, for sure. So let me ask you this: magic wand,
Hmm.
budget budget not budget don't matter. Magic wand.
Hmm.
What would be the story you want to tell?
I got it. It's called Bloodhound Manor. I just need the budget to do it. It's a dramatic thriller.
Don't give too much, but
I'm
yes.
not going to get it's a dramatic thriller, but it's real dope. But it goes back in time as well. So with time
Mm.
period pieces, you need money.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but it's called Bloodhound Manor. I wrote the script probably. Well, I wrote the story. My screenwriter wrote the script for me. So it's just waiting for me to get that budget. Once I get that budget, that's gonna be the next thing. It's dope.
Oh, okay. That sounds, and you know what? And that kind of leaves me. That was a phenomenal question, Okima, because this is why she's my co-host, ladies and gentlemen, because it leads me to this question: what part do you or have you played in the formation of the stories that you've produced?
Okay, well, Royal Bloodline, I created and I also wrote it partially. I got a co-writer, my man Bashir. He does it. Me and him is like a writing team. We write, together. But I create the story from it. Gina, that was already written. We just bought the script from my man Vernon.
Hmm.
With my partner David Jones. We bought the script from him. We shot Gina. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So normally, like I write scripts. Like right now, Hot Peas and Butter. I create that and I'm writing it now. So I do write. But if somebody got a script and I like it, me and my partner Dave, we'll option it to buy it and we'll do it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Love it.
wow. Oh, damn. So you out here optioning scripts.
Yeah, we do it all. We just don't be trying to hurry up and do like 5 movies in a year, and then make it look like it's trash. You know what I mean? I'd rather do one movie a year if I have to and make it look dope. But trust me, I want to build a team up where I could do more films as far as like an editor, so I don't have to edit. So I try to outsource edit sometime. But what happens was I outsource the edit, but then I go back over it. Just to really make sure everything is cool. Because I see things different. I know what I shot, or I know what I directed if I'm not DPing at the time. Okay, I remember this shot. This is the shot I wanted. Me switch it out. You dig what I'm saying? Or I know how to do things where the story is being told, but it looks better as a montage. You know what I'm saying? Or I know how to like sometimes scenes is like cut one scene, two scene, three scenes, but sometimes I have the dialogue going over scene two with the scene three action going on. So it's a matter of just thinking outside the box when you edit to make it more intriguing.
Yeah. What advice would you have for a new filmmaker or second career person coming into this, um, in terms of how they should go about starting, like what their first steps are in this new climate?
Well, what is that person trying to do? You know what I mean?
Let's say that they don't have money for a big team.
Hmm.
And so, because like I became a director and now I love directing, but it was initially out of necessity. I just couldn't afford to hire somebody else to do it. And the last time I asked somebody else to do it, they didn't do the job I wanted. So it's like I became a director out of necessity and then fell in love. But let's say that they are looking to direct the piece.
Hmm.
Maybe they wrote it, maybe they didn't, but they want to direct the piece. And of course, because of budget and availability, they're also going to produce it. Because with us in indie, when you direct it, you the producer too.
Yeah. I mean, I would have them go to YouTube University, just learn the basics of how to direct actors. You know what I mean? Then I'll have him pick up a camera if he don't have a DP. You know what I mean? And just practice on it first before he actually shoots it. I would say shoot a short. Get comfortable shooting a short first. So you learn the ins and outs, and you can see your mistakes you did. So when it's time for you to shoot a feature film, you have a grasp of what's going on. But I wouldn't just say jump out there and shoot a damn feature film if you ain't never done it before. Shoot a short, make some mistakes, look at it, get feedback, and then get ready for your feature film the next following year.
Okay. So let's jump into, because you talked earlier about distribution, but I want to do a deeper dive in it because oftentimes when you ask a filmmaker, where's this going?
Hmm.
It's after they've made the film. So can you talk about, or how do you do it? Do you have your distribution or where you're going to get it distributed through before you shoot, or do you guys take care of that after you shoot? How do you guys work that
um,
process?
I think everybody's different. With me, um, like it all depends. But like the BET joint, we shopped it after we got done.
Okay.
When my horror movies on BET, this Tubi stuff, it's not hard to get distribution. So once you're done, you got to edit it. You send it out. They like it. They'll put it on there, Amazon and stuff like that. You don't need distribution right now because only time you need that if you really got a budget that's big and people want to know, do you got distribution locked in or LOI? You know what I mean? So therefore, like right now, like I would say anybody doing a movie over 100,000 is crazy. It's hard to get that money back. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's hard to get that money back. But if you're doing movies between like 30 to 50,000, you probably double your money within the first year, if not even sooner. Depending on who you have in it and your promotion and marketing of it.
Hmm. So you know what? You now that's interesting
I think it's
because
different. It's all different for depending on how you function and how you fund your stuff.
Yeah.
I think that
That's the thing. We fund our own movies. We don't go outside our circle.
okay,
it's all
You know,
all your work is self funded.
yeah, everything me and my partner did, we fund our own movies.
okay, because when you're talking about the $100,000 threshold
Hmm.
and something underneath that 30 to 40,000, $50,000, and in the independent film world, depending on who's shooting it, that can be a lot of money or that's no money at all.
Yeah.
But the fact that you just said that, and having seen a lot of your films, can you talk about what goes into making a quality film with phenomenal sound in the price range of a 30 to $50,000 movie? Because a lot of people are
Feature.
probably sitting feature film. They're probably sitting here saying, I can't make that movie for that kind of money. So how do you guys go about doing that?
Um, See, with me, being that I'm well versed in all areas of filmmaking,
Hmm.
I'm always hands. I'm not the director sitting in the damn chair behind a monitor. You know what I mean? Giving action to cut the little good, take pictures of me while take pictures of me so I can put on Instagram or Facebook. I'm setting up the lights. I'm showing what the lights is. I'm actually wiring up, some of the actors for for microphones, because I know how to do it. And I teach my sound guy, this is how you do the right way to wire people. You know what I mean? Or even with grip and gapping, this is how you set up the dolly. I'm just that type person. I'm always hands on. I'm everywhere. I pick up a camera. Yo, let's do this. I got my DP. Sometimes I use the DP, sometimes I don't. Lately, I've been using the DP because I trust him. You know what I mean? The only thing about one thing about me is that if you're not as good as me, then I won't use you because I'm wasting my time.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? But if you're better than me or just as good as me, that's rock. Because you might do a one camera situation. I might just grab another camera and say, I'm gonna get this angle so we can knock two shots out at one take. Now we don't got to worry about relighting and going back to that same angle again because we already got it. You got the over the shoulder, I got the clean shot. You dig what I'm saying? So that's the way I do. So I'm always I'm over the place, and I try like I try to keep the same crew with me, like my sound guy Q. I keep my man Jay as my grip, and I usually the DP I got usually use his gaffer. We got like it's just me, Q, Jay, Dan. This is five. I got a 5-man crew. I might
Okay.
have a couple PAs, and my first AD, if I have one, I usually have one is Dominique, or it used to be Sam before that. You know what I'm saying? And we just hustle. We know they know what I want before I even start. You know what I mean? And one thing about me, I shoot the edit, so I don't sit around and go through a whole bunch of shots like of trying to shoot it. I shoot the edit. 'Cause I know what shots I want, and I don't go through a lot of takes. You get 3 takes with me. The first one's the warm up. The second one, okay, that might be a good take. The third one, you got it. After that, it's done. If you don't got it in 3 takes, that tells me you're not studying the script. You know what I mean? Yeah, you get 3 takes with me because one thing about it, I know what parts of those takes I could use to edit in. You know what I mean? So I got enough with 3 takes, as long as we get done it through the whole scene.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So therefore, I tell people that you got to be well versed. You can't just go out there and think you can just do it. You got to learn your camera. If you're going to be a DP, you got to learn the camera. You got to learn your ISOs. You got to know your dual natives. You got to know your natives. You got to know what lens you're going to use. You got to learn what shot and why you're using that shot. You know what I mean? Certain shots is for certain things. You dig what I'm saying? Dutch angles, you over the shoulders, clean shots, your dirty shots, dolly shots, truck shots. You want to learn all those, and those different shots is for particular parts of your scene to translate into what they're saying.
Okay. Well, y'all just got a master class. So y'all listen, ladies and gentlemen, like I told you, bring your pen and your pad.
One thing,
Okay,
wait. One
please.
thing you will not do. You rarely see a tripod on my set unless you're just holding the camera. My camera is always on a dolly, a slider, a steady cam, or a shoulder rig. Tripods is for photography.
Okay.
I like sticks, but I hear you. Um,
I mean,
but I also,
that's what you
it also
use. If that's
depends
what
on what you're shooting. It also depends on what you're shooting.
it all depends on. You'll never go to a bigger set and see a tripod. Now, right or wrong, Kima?
No, again, like I said, it depends on what you're shooting.
Mm.
And with that, it really depends on what you're shooting and how you're shooting. If I'm shooting, like I'm headed out to ATL on Friday to go direct a thriller horror.
Dope.
We're gonna do most of that with steady, dolly, and rig because it's something that's much more fluid.
Mm-hmm.
But the film that I just won ABFF with was something more static. So I had my fluid shots and we did some handhelds, but a lot of that was on sticks because of what we were shooting and the feel I was going for. It's a dramatic piece, it's much more intimate. So it was different. So I definitely agree that fluidity and being able to use stuff, and for what you shoot, you do a lot of action. You do a lot of you do a lot of action, you do a lot of movement, and a lot of your stuff is paced very quickly. So
And you know what else it is too?
sticks are not going to work for a lot of what you do because that's not the energy of what you're giving.
Well, it's not so much. It works because I started out with sticks.
Right.
But
But you got
what
yourself
I've
to a
learned,
place where you are like, yo, I know what I'm doing. I know what I want. I want it like this. And I think that's fair. Every filmmaker has to know what works for them. And baby, you got tons of films. So clearly it worked for you.
I mean, I just want people to understand that cinema, you know what I mean? Like when you said sticks, you use sticks, right? Try this, Keeman. Go buy a short jib, put it on the tripod, short jib, and you'll see that you'll love that shot better because now if you go clean, you could jib out and around until over the shoulder. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I do OT. No. Again,
all in one shot.
I get it. And again, a lot of the stuff that I do, it depends on what I'm shooting. However, that's not a bad that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Oh no, it's not a bad thing. I just don't do. I mean, don't get me wrong. I still have a tripod just in case. I try to stay away from them because of what I was taught. As a cinematographer and director. You dig what I'm saying?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So y'all just got some masterclass dialogue right here. So depending on how you want to shoot it and what you want to shoot it, you can always reference minute 30 of the podcast to get that knowledge.
Yeah.
But I also think that's what's beautiful about art.
Yeah,
like it's so subjective, but it's also once you are the artist that no longer feels like you can learn from someone that is different from you, you're no longer an artist that's any good to the public.
Yeah, always stay a
now
student to the game. Yeah, always stay a student to the game.
Absolutely. And so like I've used big jibs on bigger sets, but I've never used a short jib for my own thing. So now I'm like, let me see if we can get a short jib by Tuesday when we start shooting. Right. So you always can. I want to always talk to my fellow filmmakers because you do what you do and it works for you. But if I can glean from that, that's the whole point of art.
And you know what? I did the same thing. I got that from somebody else. You know what I mean?
Everything I got from somebody else, unless my brain made it up. Sometimes my brain does work that way, but there's plenty of the whole thing about art is everyone is influenced by somebody.
Oh yeah, exactly.
If you are unless you're the smartest person in your group, and then you're no longer in a group, you're in a cage.
Yeah,
but exactly. Everybody is influenced by somebody. Everything that I know, I learned or picked up from some other person's situation.
Yeah, my man Stephen Latour, phenomenal editor.
Steph.
What up, Steph?
He's like master class from the masters, and that is so absolutely true. Because again, ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking to learn how to do this business the right way, what you just heard for the last 5 minutes is a straight up masterclass. So even if you're not familiar with everything that they said as far as the terminology is concerned, one of the things that you can do is play that back and get YouTube. And when you hear something that jumps out to you, put it in YouTube and see what they're talking about. Because, like Derrick said, YouTube University is an amazing thing. And that's how you learn. But let me ask you this, Derrick. You wear a lot of hats, which shows a real serious, comprehensive understanding of filmmaking and the ability that you have to contribute to multiple project aspects. So how are you able to do that? Because you know you direct, you do the editing, you do the cinematography, you do the writing. How are you able to mesh all of that together without getting confused to bring a phenomenal product to the public?
Well, I micromanage, and I facilitate a lot of work. Like, okay, say for when I'm about to shoot. Well, pre-production, I have my first AD do the scheduling. I have me a table read if I have to. If not, I'll have the one-on-one with the actors. Production wise, I talk to the DP beforehand. He know what I want, so he will facilitate it to his gaffer, which he's normally working with for years. So they got their own language, so they know what each other want, how to go about doing what I want. And then with my grip, Jay, he been working me for years, so he knows how I like things set up. I like things already set up as far as like C stands, my 8x8, my stingers, all that. I like that stuff set up and close to set. My flags, my negatives, I want all that close to me. So when I need something, it's right there. I don't have to go back to my grip truck, cross the street down the hall somewhere to bring it. It's already on close nearby. Even with my sound, I make sure he's there close by so he knows where to put that microphone when I'm blocking. You know what I mean? And then I want him to pay attention so I don't cast no shadows or nothing like that. And with the editing, I usually get my sister editor or one of the editors. I have them edit the movie. Give me a assembly cut. I'll come up and put the sauce on it. And that's what I normally do. And then once I'm putting the sauce on it, I color grade it at the same time. And then at the same time I'm color grading, I do Foley sounds, which every scene you hear something, regardless if it's a hum, footsteps, door, outside, unless you're doing a stylized thing where you want it silence. Other than that, you always hear something. So I do all my Foley work. And then if I like songs, I put a song in there just so I can pace my edit of how I want, how the song want to go, or get like a what is it, like a sound design or something like a ominous drone sound when it's something dramatic or when it's something about to happen. I put something in there in place of it, so when I send it over to the sound stage over in India, they understand what I want and how I want it to sound, and it gives them an idea.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I don't do everything fully.
Almost.
Yeah, almost, but I micromanage, and I get people to like one thing about my edits. I don't when the editor, I don't like to be over their shoulder. Some directors want to be there from the start to finish. I don't do that. Give me your story that you see from the script. Put it together. Let me see what you come up with. If I like it, that's rock. With if it's some things I could change, I will put my sauce on it to make it come out better. You know what I mean? Even with visual effects, I do that all my own. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because right now I can't afford to do a visual effects person like that. Even like Lewis. You know what I mean? I know I can't afford them.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So what I do, I went to YouTube University.
Yeah.
I had to do it on my own until I get the chance to work with Lewis. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
got, I gave Lewis his first visual effects nomination
Are you serious?
for London, my web series. Yeah.
Wow. If you guys aren't familiar with Lewis Duvall, am I correct?
Yeah, Lewis DeVore. Yeah.
Louis Duvall, dude is crazy, crazy,
hmm
crazy, crazy,
So,
crazy.
I couldn't afford them. You know what I mean? So I'm like, Lewis, until that time comes, then I appreciate it. You know what I mean?
Damn, so Louis living like that now? Woo, okay, Louis, I see you. Go ahead, brother. But he is a phenomenal. If you're
He
talking
know what
about
he
somebody
doing.
that know what he's doing,
He
that
know
brother,
he know what he
he's
doing.
sometimes we would have conversations and he would start talking that talk. And I'm
hmm
like, bruh, you got to dumb this down real far because I have absolutely because he get all excited. He's like, oh Floyd, did you do this?
he
I'm like,
gets
yo,
he gets excited.
I'm like, Lewis, I don't know what you talk about, bruh. I have no idea what you just said, but if you said it, it must work. But again, it shows in his work. Soul
hmm
Magic Studios.
hmm
The brother is dope. But okay.
Yeah.
No, I love it. I love it. And so when you, as someone who does a lot of these things yourself or can do a lot of these things yourself, talk to me about how you would address the artists that might get overwhelmed. Maybe they're doing so much themselves because they don't have the resources to outsource as much, and so they've got to do all of the things. But what do you say to the artist that gets overwhelmed in the process of doing so much yourself? Because you can do this in your sleep at this point because you've done it so long, you're so experienced.
Yeah.
What do you say to the newbie that is decent, is equipped, but maybe feeling overwhelmed at the moment?
As far as like editing wise, or the whole process?
As far as like having to do a lot on their own because they don't have the fiscal resources or the network to outsource some of it.
Okay. For the post-production aspect of it, I would say start out editing one scene a day. Just edit one scene a day. You know what I mean? Until you get comfortable. Like sometimes you might edit more than one because the scene might not be long. You know what I mean? But if you got a big scene that you got to edit with a bunch of dialogue and moving parts, just do it for that one day. You know what I mean? And then, to go back, then at the end of the week, you probably got like 10 scenes you don't edit and you're not overwhelmed by all of it. You know what I mean? Then on the weekend, you go over it if you want to. If you don't want to do it on the weekend, you go over what you edit, and then come Monday, continue on. And before you know it, 3 months down the line, you got the movie edited. If you, I don't know, like you remember Gina and Floyd, you shoot a movie now, it don't come out till the following year. You remember them?
Yeah.
For some, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about back.
Oh no, yeah, back in the day, you shoot it today, it's gonna be out next summer.
Yeah, next summer. Now
it's like, out in the fall.
And that's that microwave shit. You know what I mean? They just
now it's out in the fall.
They want to hurry up and get it out there so they can post it on the gram. You know what I mean? And 9 times out of 10, it could have been much better if they'd have took their damn time.
Bruh, I remember I had a conversation with a filmmaker, and he was about to do a film. He was actually in the midst of shooting the film, and he wanted to get it out, but he said he was running into some issues, but he was just going to keep going. And I asked him, I said, well, let me ask you a question. What is the rush? I'm like, what is the rush? He was like, well, I want to get it out. I said, but see, here's the thing. You only get one time to make a first impression, brother. And once you put that out there, that's what you're known for.
Yeah.
And they ended up putting it out. And I'm sitting there watching it. And I say, see, because you heard the little comments and snickers in the audience. And I'm saying, see, if you had just given yourself the grace and just waited, because like you said, Okima, it'll drop when it drops.
And I'd rather take longer for something better than to rush it.
Right.
Like I had a project that I rushed, right? And I didn't feel so great about it, but I was like, oh, well, the actors came and and they got to go out. And baby, by the second time I saw it on the screen, I was like, nope, this ain't it. And I pulled it. I pulled it from every festival. I pulled it from every screen. Won't nobody ever see it? It literally will not see the light of day unless I so choose to reshoot it or re-edit it at the very least.
Yeah.
Because that's my reputation, and I've worked hard for this reputation. And people, they are in such a rush to just have something that they're not taking a lot of pride in the something that they have, and that's why don't nobody ask you for nothing else.
You know what it is too, Kima? You got to find people that's just as passionate and driven as you are. You know what I mean? And it's kind of hard because everybody wants the limelight. They want to be a director, want to be a producer, the writer. You dig what I'm saying? And with that, and you got people working on set, they're not going to be as urgent to get stuff done when you say, yo, I need a light over here, because it's not their project. They're not the head. You know what I mean? They're not getting accolades, nothing like that. But it takes a team effort. Without, those type of people, grips, gaffers, PAs, and stuff like that, the sound guy, you won't have a really good project.
Yeah. Well, and then also, I think the other thing to think about is like, I can remember when we worked together. You were fast, you were efficient, you knew what you wanted, you knew how to articulate what you wanted, and we were in and out.
Yeah.
Right? And this was many years ago. And it wasn't a big crew.
It was like 3 people, right?
It wasn't, I don't remember how many, because baby, it's been a minute, and Auntie is going through menopause brain, but I do remember that I had a good time. When we met, when you were directing me, it all felt good. I felt like I was with people. Like, I mean, I knew Leland, I knew Aaron, so I trusted and loved them. But then I walked into a place where I had a crew and a team that I also felt cared about me and as a human. And then remember, when my stuff was done, because I didn't have to leave Philly, I wound up staying and helping y'all out.
Yeah.
Right?
Everybody did. Everybody did.
It was all hands on deck because that's where we were at the time.
That's where we were. Yep.
You know what I mean? And so I think that people have to be mindful that, like, it took me a long time to call myself a director. Right? I had been doing it because I had to at the time. And then when I really started to have a love for it, I went and I was shadowing, I was reading YouTube University, classes, you know what I mean? I did everything so that I could know that I could show up and show out and be an adept leader to the people I was working with. Right? And so I think that the other part of that is, while you're green, work with people that want to work with you, that want to show you the ropes, that will help you learn. Be okay with like, I have one of my big brothers and mentors, Patrick Coker. Pat is a showrunner, he's a director, he's a writer, he's done primetime, cable, all of it, right?
Yeah.
Pat didn't direct his first episode of television until almost 55 years old. But Pat also, aside from sound, Pat has done every single thing on the set. Like, Pat was teaching when I was Pat was teaching at Brooklyn College when I was in Brooklyn College.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? So I've learned so much from Pat because he had the experience. But he also, when it was just him, and you know, when he was working with a smaller crew, a smaller budget, a smaller resource pool, Pat was shooting, directing. But the thing about it is, I remember being on a commercial maybe about 3 or 4 years ago with Bradford Young, and Brad was shooting, Brad was directing, and Bradford got the money. They gave Bradford Young the budgets, but he still was like, nah, I'm shooting myself because I know what I want.
Well, you gotta understand, Michael Bay does the same thing. He'll shoot it himself. You dig what I'm saying? Some people, some directors are like that. They come,
which is great, baby. You don't want me to shoot nothing. You don't want me to shoot nothing. You don't want me to hold nobody's camera unless it's a phone and I'm taking a picture. I don't shoot. I know my strengths and my weaknesses.
Exactly.
But I never wanted to shoot. But I made sure that I worked with and studied under DP, so I know the language.
You know what
I know how to ask for what lenses I want. I know how to, and if I don't, I know how to articulate what I want in visual language so that the person that's shooting it understands. When I'm doing a shot list, I give a visual. Like, I just finished my shot list because the team that I'm working with is very efficient and they're very organized and they're very regimented. So I didn't write the piece. I was hired as the director. So I'm working with the team the way that they've asked me to, right? But I also gave my visual references along with my shot list so that if for whatever reason somebody doesn't understand the shot that I'm asking for, they see it. And they're like, oh, or because I do not shoot, while I know visual language and DP language, I could be asking for X, and the DP seeing the visual reference and be like, you know what, we could actually get this in a 2-shot and make it blah, 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 and do this much quicker. I know I can give you my visual reference and then give you my shot list, and you can say, Keen, you know what, we don't even need all that. If we do X and Y and Z and bot and bot and bot, let's go. So you just got to know how to position yourself to ask for what you need to be the most productive person with the team you got.
And that's the whole thing, is your team, and the team believes in you. If you talking and you're making everything understandable, where everybody understands everything that you want, it goes like that. You know what I mean?
And if they don't understand, they have the patience to walk you through getting it out.
And also, you know, with directors is, if you're not confident, everybody else is not going to trust you.
Talk about that. Talk about being confident. Because sometimes, especially if you're a new director, as long as you're decently knowledgeable, baby, I don't care if that confidence has to be you faking it till you make it. You make sure you have people that are with you that you can rely on. And for lack of a better metaphor, make sure that if you're not sure, you walk in with a confidence and a kindness so that somebody can fix your crown without having to tell the whole crew it was crooked.
I mean, you gotta come in there because people look to you for leadership. You understand what I'm saying? So therefore, if you don't come in there and you don't know what you want, you just lollygagging around, trying different stuff out, people gonna start looking at you, and then like, what are we doing? And next thing you know, 3 hours done passed away. You didn't put up the camera yet. You know,
Yeah.
Right.
so
Ain't
Been
you
nobody
there,
got time
really,
done,
for
been
that.
there,
I don't care what
been
kind of
there.
yeah,
budget you got. Nobody has time for that.
yeah,
Yeah.
no. So you really gotta know what it is. You when you gotta command the respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't gotta love me, but you will respect me.
Right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I will
And you will
respect
know
you
that
as
I
well.
respect you. Right.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'll give it right back. You know what I
Baby,
mean?
listen.
And people know that about me. You know what I mean? People might think that I'm mean and stuff like that. I'm not mean. I'm just serious because I'm trying to get this done. You know what I mean? But if you ask me how to do something, I'm gonna take the time out to explain it to you how to do it
Right.
because I want you to be better than when you came here.
Yeah.
From when you leave, you did. I want to give you much knowledge as you can, so when you go further on, you already know how to do it because I gave you that. You dig what I'm saying? I want you to be better than how you came into my production. I'm not going to sit here and not teach you while you're working. I'm gonna teach you so you'll be better and you know what to do because we got a long production here. So let's get going. And not only that, if you're doing good, I'm gonna bring you back on my next production because now
Right.
you're in my circle and you know my love language and how to go about stuff and how to do it. And it makes it more fluent. Now I can just look at you, give you whatever a nod or give you some type of gesture, you know what I need. I need a negative feel. I need to walk it in 3 feet. You know what I mean? So it's just knowing the crew that you're with, but you got to show that you know what you're talking about
Right.
Right.
and you know what you want and you respect. I'm
Yeah.
never the one to go black out on nobody without something being warranted. You know what I mean? Like I hate when MFers come on my set, they want to smoke and drink. I'm not about
But
that.
you're at work.
Wow.
I don't care if it's not a corporation.
Yeah,
You're at work.
yeah. You
You
know what I
are at
mean?
work.
Even like, and you know what it is. See, these cats, they do these other big productions. 9 times out of 10, they're not going to do that shit on their set.
And you gonna respect me like you respect everybody
And I
else.
and I
Yeah.
say, and that's what I tell them. I say, you gonna respect me just like you on the big budget. You gonna respect my budget,
Right.
my budget set. If not,
My
we gonna
whole
have a
thing is
problem.
I'm paying you to be here. I don't care how big the budget is. When
Yeah.
you say yes with 100% of your chest,
Yep.
and you say yes with 100% of your professionalism and your
Hmm.
commitment. You have committed to this, so you show up and you commit and you say yes with 100% of yourself because that's what we do here.
Yeah.
Indie, independent, network, studio, don't matter.
Yeah.
You show up and you show up.
But the thing, also, Kima, they get comfortable and they get too friendly, thinking they could do the shit. That's why they don't do that shit with me because they don't know how to approach me because I keep my poker face on all the time. You
But
know
I'm
what I'm saying?
comfortable as hell with you, Derrick. I still would never show up to your set ill
You're,
prepared
yeah, you're
or
different.
unprofessional.
You're
Yeah. But
different.
And I mean,
Everybody,
you my
everybody,
brother. You like my
yeah,
big brother.
yeah.
yeah.
But I
But
think I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
no, I said everybody don't think that way. You know what I mean? That's the whole thing. And you know what else I can't stand is when I'm shooting a scene and you're filming this shit on your damn phone.
Oh, come on, y'all.
Yo, I don't care what you do, but between action and cut, turn the phones off.
Okay.
That's what BTS is for. Like that's what the person you hire BTS for
Just
is
for
for.
Right.
But actors don't see that. They gotta have something they can post on the gram, on Facebook. Don't do it while I don't care if you do it outside of action and cut. You know what I mean? If we setting up, you want to take pictures, whatever, cool. As long as you know your shit, I'm cool.
Right.
But when I say action, I expect you to show me the respect not to be, recording my damn scene.
Wow. See. I'm going to say something that I say all the time ad nauseum. This is a business. This is a business, and you're on a film set, which is an investment for somebody. So when you go back to people saying, well, they're smoking and drinking, you're not respecting the business.
No,
Okay. And the fact that somebody's, they're not going to do that on a bigger budget set. Well, to the set that you're on, that is a big budget
Mhm.
because that's their
if
money.
I'm
Right.
spending my money,
Right. That's
it's
a
Right.
big to
big
me.
budget. If it's
Mhm.
$10,000 to me, that's a big budget because that's $10,000
Mhm.
that I took a lot of time
Mhm.
raising.
Racing. Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So it
Mhm.
doesn't matter the monetary amount. It's an issue of respect. And interestingly enough, there are so many people that are creative, but when it comes to the business acumen, they have zero. And I
Yeah,
think this is when you see something on Tubi that's not done right or it's not polished because you know what? Your set wasn't tight
yeah. Well,
at the end of the day.
yeah, you know what it is? They lack set etiquette.
There you go.
There's a lot of people that have no idea about set etiquette, honey.
They don't. That's the problem.
They don't know how to talk to people. They don't know how to communicate.
You
They don't know how to ask for what they need.
know.
They don't know how to shut up.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
don't. And that's the thing they lack is set etiquette.
Yeah. Because the fact that you don't have the mental capacity to know that when they say roll camera action, there is no way that you should be on your phone. Because even if you have your phone on vibrate, those mics pick up everything.
But not even just that.
Mm-hmm.
Vibrate. It's not
Professional.
vibrate. My favorite is when you have it on vibrate and then have it on a hard
Table.
surface.
Yeah.
So then you're in the screen and you hear,
Like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they get upset because then they'll leave set because you call them out on it, Derrick, and they'll be like, well, Derrick think he all of that. No, I'm trying to put together
Floyd,
a good product.
I don't give a shit.
There you go.
we know.
I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? People will tell you, they think I'm hard to work. I'm not hard to work with at all. I just expect a certain level of professionalism when you're on my set.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm giving my time to put this together and teach you and give you instructions how to do it rightfully and the right way to do it, how I was taught.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get some of the knowledge I give nowhere else for free. And
Right.
you're getting paid to learn. It's like I was paid to learn.
Mm-hmm.
You dig what I'm saying? If you don't know how to do it, I'm going to show you how to do it so you can make sure that you get it and you stay with it. That's how I am.
Yeah.
Tell me what, because I know we're wrapping up shortly, but
And we could talk. It's up to you.
tell me. Well, we do have a timetable here, but
Oh, okay.
I want you to share with me what is the lesson, the most valuable lesson that you have learned in your time in this business to date?
Distribution. And the bullshit that they doing with us filmmakers. A lot of these distributors, and I dealt with them, I know them. I know the CEO's first name, I got their numbers. A lot of them is really getting over on filmmakers. You know what I mean? A lot of them say they got a direct connect to Tubi. I don't think it's really direct. I think a lot of them is going through Film Hub with the plus tier. You dig what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like,
you could have done that.
I could have done that, and I could have saved me 20% of the money that that I make, because if you make 40,000, Film Hub, Tubi takes 20,000 because it's 50-50 split with Tubi and a distributor. Now, if you make 40,000, your movie make 40,000 for that month. Film Hub gets 20,000. The distributor, probably Film Hub, gets 20,000.
Film Hub is 25%.
No, it's 20%.
20%.
Yeah, it's 20%. But I'm saying it's 50-50. It's a 50-50 split from the gate for Film Hub and the money. So therefore, with Film Hub, they give you 80%, which probably the distributor that you sign on a Film Hub. So they give the distributor 80% of that 20,000. No, it's 16,000 now because Film Hub takes their 20%. Mm-hmm. So now 16,000 go to the distributor that you signed on to. Mm-hmm. And that 16,000 or that distributor, they give you 80% of that, which is $12,800. And they keep 20%, which if you would have went straight to Film Hub, you would have got that 16,000. Mm. You dig what I'm saying?
Yep. You got somebody playing middleman who's a middleman.
Yeah, they're really producers reps. They're not really distributors.
Right.
So therefore,
we have to be really cautious about who we sign with and what we sign, and really vetting we gotta vet the people that we get into business with.
Yeah, and it's hard because if you audit them, you can't audit Tubi. It's in the contract. You don't even
Right.
Mm.
audit their books. You dig what I'm saying? So therefore, you can't audit. You can only audit the distribution company that you're signed to.
Oh wow.
So my thing is, just go to Film Hub. You got a lot more outlets you could pick from with the tier, with the plus tier.
Right.
You can say which ones you want to go to, which ones you don't with the plus tier. You know,
And
you do it
depending
for
on how you
free.
want to do it with Film Hub, you can do it all at one time. While
Yeah,
you are
yeah,
in, yeah, like if for
yeah.
those that aren't for any audience members that aren't familiar with Film Hub, you are able to usually do a pay scale kind of situation initially while they're going to tier ones to see if they want to license your stuff. Or it just depends on the deal that you have with them. I presently have a deal with them with something else. So I'm familiar with how
Well,
ours works out with.
Film Hub.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So it just depends on what we're saying for anybody that may not be familiar. There are a lot of people out here touting themselves as distributors, and really what they are aggregators or
producers,
producers.
right? Yeah, that's all they
Yeah.
And
really are.
so make sure that you're vetting the people that are coming to you, telling you that they can get you a deal with this one, that one, and the third, because they may be the third party to a third party.
Hmm.
And then you wind up getting a third of what you should have gotten because you done had to pay 5 other people before you got paid.
Yeah.
So really quickly with what you two are discussing, if you are someone who wants to send their film to Tubi and you're going through this, how do you arm yourself with this information? Who are you talking to learn what you just said, besides listening to a conversation with podcast with Floyd Marshall and Akima T. Moore?
Hmm.
How are filmmakers finding out this information so that when they make that deal, they're not giving away money that they could have kept in their pocket? What is their
I just told you, go to Film Hub. You don't got to
You can
go.
go straight, right. You can go
yeah,
Yeah.
but
straight
see,
to
some of
film.
them don't know that. For
Uh,
the ones that so how do you get to that
Well,
information
you
is what
make
I'm
sure
saying.
that you're in the right spaces. Like I
mhm.
know I learned these things because I'm a little different because I'm on a few boards and we have a lot of distribution events.
Mhm.
But that's also how you learn things. Are you going places? Are you in the spaces to get the knowledge? When Derrick is on his live and talking about what he does, are you listening? When he's interviewing somewhere, are you listening? When we're talking to people like Derrick and like all of the other people that we bring into these spaces so that you guys can learn, are you listening? Are you listening to, the screenwriters rant room? Are you going to the screenwriters room on Facebook? Are you in spaces to learn? You can't want to get into this game and decide you want to just jump right in knowing nothing, because all that's going to do is cost you money, time, and opportunities.
Mhm.
Where are you getting your knowledge? Like, come on, Derrick, think about when we first started in this game. There was no conversation with Floyd and Okima.
Nah.
There was no Black TV and Film Collective. There wasn't, there wasn't a Hugh, there wasn't a Brown Girls Doc Mafia. You didn't know nothing about documentary if you didn't work for PBS. Like, there was
Mhm.
none of that information.
Nah.
You have no reason now to not know. And actually, not for nothing, if you're really unsure, 9 times out of 10, people gonna just go and ask Chat GPT at this point,
Yeah.
because there's just no reason for you not to know if you're curious. If you
Mhm.
say I have a film and I want to put it on Tubi, there's too many places for you to understand how to do that effectively and for the lowest cost to you,
Yeah. Yeah.
for you not to get that information.
Yeah.
There's no excuse. When we were coming up, we didn't have none of this.
Yeah.
True that.
It was
and
trial
and
and error, and it was much more error than trial.
Yeah.
mhm. And a lot of them distributors, they knew this stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's why if you look now, a lot of them giving 90-10 deals
Mm.
because people's getting hip to their BS.
Yep.
You dig what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because I understand if people want to go that route, there's nothing wrong with it. If you want to lose some money, but some people don't want to do all the legwork that you got to do when it comes to Film Hub. You
Right.
know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? It's like when you send it to one of these so-called, distributors or aggregators, you just send the film and the closed captions, and that's it. With Film Hub, you gotta do a little bit more.
Mm.
You understand what I'm saying? And some people don't know how to do that because a lot of them is really first time getting into the film game, and they don't know what aspect ratio means. You know what I mean? They don't know how to do it right. They don't know what landscape. They don't know what type of poster size they need. You know what I mean? So they send it to a distributor so they could do it, or aggregator, whatever you want to call them. So they do the work for you, and they give up that 20%. You know what I mean? I don't need to do that. You know what I mean? I agree. Like what I do, and right now, like it's a lot of SVODs that's really going down. But when SVODs was popping, I would take my movie to them and I would call them firsthand and get a SVOD deal with them for a year.
Mm,
And they give me they license my stuff up front. They give you money up front. It's a 6 month holdback, but that's cool because it's going to take 6 months before it gets to Tubi anyway.
mm,
You know what I mean? So now I done got my SVODs from different platforms that it's on. And I got the 6 month holdback. I could take it to any SVOD because they're all the same. You know what I mean?
For
So
those that
therefore,
don't know, SVOD is SVOD, which stands for subscription video on demand. So
yeah.
that's your Roku, that's your, that stuff.
And when the thing about it now is these so-called SVODs, when they're charging people a monthly fee, they're not trying to license your movie now. So
Nope.
how are you paying me through viewership when people are paying you a monthly fee? Now you're trying to give me like 0.003% of a cent.
mm,
Where SVOD, you supposed to license my movie.
right.
Okay, for this amount of money, I'm going to license it for a year. And then we have the option to renew it the following year if if it done well on our platform, if you bought people on it. Now these so-called just platforms that charging people monthly fees, they ain't trying to give no minimum guarantee no more.
Mm,
So you paying me pennies while these people paying you monthly subscription fees,
hmm,
but you're giving me pennies?
right.
Yep.
I wish I would put my stuff on that stuff.
Yeah. So we're almost at the end, but the one thing that I wanted to mention, and this has been an absolutely amazing interview. Um, it's ridiculous that it took us this long to do it. So we definitely going to have to do this again and a lot sooner because after I watched Gina, and we didn't even touch on Royal
I need him to
Bloodline.
just make sure before he gets out of here, he tells the people how to find his
Oh, we're gonna do
latest
all of that.
because it's
We're gonna do all of that. But I got one more questions. But again, you got to come back because we didn't talk about Royal Bloodline. We didn't talk about your latest film, Gina. So you definitely got to come back because
Oh
I would
yeah.
love for you to come back and bring some cast members. But for those of you who may not know, Mr. Hammond has been nominated for an Interstar Trailblazer Award for filmmaking. So
Oh,
big congratulations
Come on,
appreciate
Philly.
that.
to that. So you know, what is it like? Because again, you've been doing this for a long time, and I've known you for a long time. You've been doing this for a long time and doing it extremely well. What is it like to have people acknowledge the hard work and the phenomenal work that you've been doing and have done up until this point?
You know what, Floyd? To be truthful, I don't really get into that.
Mm,
I don't pay attention to the act. I won a whole bunch of awards from film festivals. I don't post it. I posted the one for London. You know what I mean? Because
right.
we know I know who runs the film festival and everything. You know what I mean? So it was so, but I won a lot of awards. So it's not like my thing is I'd rather teach somebody to do the right things. Come and see other people win. You know what I mean? I want to teach you how to do this film thing properly. So when you're on your own set, you're running it right. You're not just willy nilly through the whole thing and hopefully that you come up with something good, not knowing what you did. I want to teach you how to do it. But it's grateful that I'm nominated, things of that nature. And I take my hat off to other filmmakers. I know a couple of them that's been nominated as well. You know what I mean? But my thing is just try to be a better person and be a better me, so my next project will be better than my last. You know what I'm
Beautiful,
saying?
beautiful.
So
And
like,
with that, I'm
go
sorry. Go
ahead.
ahead. I'm sorry. No.
No, so, I was just saying. So therefore, it's like that's what I strive. That's my reward. Is try to make my next project better than my last one.
Yeah. And with that, what is your next project? What you got? What you got in the
Can
pipeline?
you
Well,
Because
tell us?
we had one. We're trying to decide if we're going to do a Christmas movie
Oh,
because
okay.
I would love a Christmas movie. I think it's time for me to do like a real deep, heartfelt Christmas movie, like a soul food. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Something like on that.
Let's go. I've been looking for a Christmas movie I can sing in forever. So let's go, Derek. Let's
Like
go.
this Christmas, it's just been, I think it's time for that for me to do one.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then I'm finishing up the writing for Hot Peas and Butter. That's a lover's heist. Where the body, where the stakes is hot and the bodies turn cold. It's based off of the
Okay.
game we used to play back in the day, especially in New
I
York.
remember.
You know what I mean? So then, and then we also looking for scripts. You know what I mean? That people got a script they want us to check out. You can always hit me up on IG or Facebook.
You
Now,
heard the man,
I'm gonna
y'all.
send you my script.
You heard the man,
Yeah,
y'all.
send it over. We'll check it out. I go
Right.
with me and my team. And if it's something that that like one thing one thing about me is that I try to be a little ahead of the curve. I pay attention to the climate. Like I knew black women leads was going to be a thing coming soon. That's why I did Her Little Secret. That's why I had the black female lead back then in 2016. And that's when all the black leads started really coming to the forefront. And I knew that was going to be the new thing. So that's why I kept with that formula where females was, leading like from Her Little Secret to London to Royal Bloodline, a couple other ones I've done, you know what I mean? Eh, but Gina, you know what I mean? I know like this thing with sisters is powerful. Even with my crew, I try to, keep women in my crew because dealing with a lot of men on crew, it gets a little like testy.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Because females, they don't they don't try to see who dick is bigger on set because they don't have one. Their
hmm
thing is let's get it done. How can we do it? Let's do it right. They're not so much reactive, they're more proactive.
mm,
They're not trying to be, the leader, but they know how to lead.
mm,
You dig what I'm saying? So therefore I love women on my set. That's why my first ADs is always a woman
mm.
because she knows how to nurture her babies. And that's the whole thing is being that mother on set. That's what a first AD really is a mother. She handles, make sure everybody you're on time, make sure you're on time to get to school, which is being on set. You know what I mean? Okay, what time is our lunch? Okay, make sure all that stuff, the scheduling is done. Everybody got their call sheets and stuff like that. Your homework done. Okay, what's this? That's the shot list. So therefore they're nurturing mothers on set. That's why I love female AD, first ADs.
Nice, nice, nice. So, ladies and gentlemen, we hope that you've enjoyed this hour and 15 minutes with film director, cinematographer, editor, writer, casting director, and just all around phenomenal filmmaker, Derrick Hammond, and my amazing co host, Okima T. Moore. So, Derrick, where can people find you? And more importantly, where can they watch your films?
They can find me on Instagram, Derrick Hammond 920, Facebook, Derrick Hammond. I'm trying to get more into TikTok. I still can't grasp that yet, but it's Derrick Hammond 920 on TikTok.
Don't say
Um,
that, Derek. I don't tick or talk.
Yeah.
you can find like I got movies on Tubi, of course. Just type my name in. You'll see all the movies I've done. Amazon, Plex, Folsom, Mansa, In the Black Network, Freevee, um, Urban Flicks. I got my films is in a lot of places, but but mostly the Tubi is that's the bread and butter. Support that because that's where we get most of our money from is the Tubi channel.
Okay.
And
Okay.
like right now, my latest one was Royal Bloodline. You check that on Tubi. Gina should be dropping within a couple months.
Sturgis.
Yeah, yep.
Yo, that was a good movie, yo. We gonna talk. We not see if we start talking about it, we're gonna
We
be here
got
for
no,
another
no.
hour.
Yep.
Yeah,
We gonna talk about the next time. 'Cause that movie was fire, and I had a
yeah.
couple people, couple friends in that one. That movie was good. It
Appreciate that.
really, really
Appreciate
was.
that.
So go check those out. But again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to a
Hmm.
conversation with myself, the amazing Mr. Derrick Hammond, and the extraordinary co-host Okima T. Moore. This has been an absolutely amazing podcast. Share it with your friends, please. And it's
Absolutely.
not even for the ratings, but again, as we've talked about this entire podcast, it's about educating the film making public on how to do things the right way. And if
Yes.
you've been tuned in for the last hour and 15 or so minutes, you got a master class on how to do things the right way. So the thing that I always say is listen to this podcast a couple of times because there are so many gems in the podcast. You're not going to be able to get them for the first go round. So listen to it a couple of times. And before we go, Okima, any parting words?
Derrick, thank you so much for coming and blessing our audience with your knowledge and your energy. So excited to continue to remind them to support your work.
Appreciate
We
that.
definitely got to make sure we work together again. It's been quite too long.
I was about to say that. When you gonna get in front of my camera again?
When you call me, bro, I'll be there.
All right.
Listen,
Okay.
you just talked about a Christmas movie. I told you I've been looking for a Christmas movie that I can also sing in forever.
Y'all gonna make me come out of retirement.
You're still in New York, right?
Yeah, I'm in Brooklyn.
Okay, cool.
But you know, I travel. I'm about to head to Atlanta. I go where the work is, bro.
You were just here. You were just here a couple weeks ago.
I'm like, I was just in Philly screening a film like 2 weeks ago, a horror joint.
At Scribe Center. So
yeah. So that ain't nothing.
Do me a favor. Can y'all let me know when that stuff is happening?
Yes,
so I can go support. One thing about me, I do support people. You know what I'm saying?
You do. Listen. My brother will come out.
Let me tell you something. What I don't like, if I come to your shit and I don't see another mine, I'm not doing it again.
Well, that's not fair.
And I'm not. That's just the way I am.
But we're going to make sure that we support the brother Derrick Hammond and his work. We're going to make sure that we let you know when we got stuff going on so you can come out and support. Matter of fact, I won't be there, but on August 7th, we are showing our horror short again. It's animation and live action.
Oh, dope.
In Philly. So I will send you the information.
Yeah,
I'll be working, but it's going to be a dope event. It's called The Black Girl Lives, and it's all Black women in horror.
Dope. Okay.
So y'all can come out, but make sure that you guys follow Derrick. Make sure that you support this man's work. All his joints on Tubi, especially. Let's make sure we rack up them numbers because he can't buy your script if he ain't got the bread. So let's rack up these numbers for him, okay?
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again. We truly enjoyed you being a part of our audience. And, follow the podcast, follow Derrick Hammond. Make sure you are following Miss Okima T. Moore. And I will end it as I always do. Love it like a hobby, but treat it like a business. And on that note, everybody have an absolutely, absolutely amazing, amazing evening. Peace.
Don't go nowhere, Derrick. Derrick.